me, Mario!
He might be the hero of the Mushroom Kingdom, but don't let that adorable mustachioed smile fool you. Mario is a good guy for sure, and he might just be one of the most kind-hearted heroes out there. That said, if you dig into his past, you'll find some less than favorable deeds under his belts, or buttons. I'm Kyle with Wicked Binge, and these are Mario's deeds, good to evil. Let's start off with the more well-known side of Mario. Let's go to the good deeds. We'll start with the lesser of the good accomplishments and work our way up to the most heroic deeds. First up is Mario inviting everyone to party, play, go-kart, you name it, Mario is there. The Mario spin-offs are in many ways just as beloved as his main series outings. When the subject of gaming with friends comes up, Mario Party or Mario Kart are practically guaranteed to be recommendations. While there's nothing wrong with knowing how to have a good time, it doesn't necessarily make anyone an upstanding citizen. But what makes this a good deed on Mario's part is just how inclusive he is. He doesn't just limit his guest list to his friends and family like Luigi, Peach, and Yoshi. He also invites his frenemies, rivals, and even enemies. Donkey Kong, Wario, and even Bowser and his troops are always allowed to join them in races, parties, and sporting events. The guy's nice enough to give Monty Mole an invitation to his parties. Half of you probably didn't even know who Monty Mole was before we said that. Rescuing both friends and enemies from boredom is pretty great, but it's not the only time Mario saved someone. There was also the time he rescued Daisy from Tatanga. In Super Mario Land for the Game Boy, Mario proves that he doesn't mind traveling outside the Mushroom Kingdom when his help is needed. In this game, he sets out for Sarasa Land to rescue Princess Daisy from the alien Tatanga. We'd say this mission was pretty successful since Tatanga hasn't since been heard from once, except being fought in space in Super Mario Land 2, and Daisy has been hanging around with the gang ever since. She races, plays sports, and she's even in Smash Bros. As for why we don't rank this one higher, well, we'll get to that later. For now, let's go back to the very first rescue mission Mario went on, rescuing Pauline from Donkey Kong. The chubby, middle-aged man was on a mission to rescue his girlfriend, Pauline, from a gigantic ape called Donkey Kong while dodging the many obstacles thrown in his way, from barrels to inexplicably sentient fireballs. Like the previous entry, this is another case of Mario being a brave man who's willing to rescue those in need. And also, like the previous entry, we have some reasons we'll discuss later for why we don't rank this one higher. And what's more, this was before Mario was really a hero. He hadn't even seen the Mushroom Kingdom at the time of Pauline's first kidnapping. So the fact that he was brave enough to risk his neck on a construction site to rescue his girlfriend from an ape is all the more admirable. But when it comes to rescuing princesses, it doesn't get more iconic than Mario rescuing Princess Peach repeatedly and protecting the Mushroom Kingdom. It's Mario's most frequent good deed and definitely his most well-known. And it's not just well-known, it's kind of infamous to an extent. Fans often question why Mario always rescues Peach anytime she's in danger. It's happened like 100 times. Kidnapping her seems to be both a hobby and a way of life for Mario's archenemy Bowser, so it's not like there's ever much downtime from his rescue missions. Mario has to save Peach pretty damn frequently, and he never complains even once. He's always happy to go after Bowser anytime he kidnaps the princess, no matter the danger. To add to this, Mario hardly gets anything from it. Maybe a thank you and a kiss on the cheek, but nothing too extravagant. Fans often ask why Mario bothers to keep saving her, and the answer is quite simple. Mario's a good guy. He cares about Peach, regardless of whether he gets a whole parade thrown in his honor, or a cake for his efforts. Whether he's rewarded for it or not, Mario is always willing to rescue Peach no matter how many times it requires kicking Bowser's tail, and no matter how dangerous it is. And sure, saving your own kingdom is impressive, but what about saving the world multiple times? Saving the Mushroom Kingdom is just another random Thursday for Mario. Where it really gets interesting is every time he goes beyond that. He's not adverse to helping rescue other people and species, like when he and his friends worked to rescue the Sprixies in Super Mario 3D World, for instance. He's also been a big help to multiple galaxies and planets in the Super Mario Galaxy games, even stopping Bowser from harnessing the Grand Star's power to build his own galaxy in the center of the universe. In the Mario and Luigi series, he's even helped stop the invasion of the Shrooms, an alien race who knows nothing but destruction. There's more, of course, like him stopping Count Bleck's evil plan in Super Paper Mario, which saved the entire universe. But if we were to talk about every time Mario has saved the world from Bowser and other brands of impending doom, we would be here all day. So consider this an umbrella entry, and let it convince you that Mario is a stand-up guy on the whole, who's always willing to save the world like it's just another brick to break. Now honestly, that last deed seems like it should practically guarantee the gold medal of good. So this may be controversial, but we're giving the gold medal of good to helping Bowser Jr. save Bowser. In Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Bowser Jr. is distraught by his father being possessed by black goop that's turned him more gigantic, powerful, and evil than ever before. He goes into an uncontrollable rage whenever storms roll in, and attacks indiscriminately. Not even Jr. is able to talk him down. While Mario stopping Bowser's rampage here could have, on the surface, be counted as just another instance of him defeating his nemesis as usual, here he's actually saving Bowser himself more than anyone else. When Bowser Jr. asks, or more so, tells Mario to help him, Mario is actually happy to oblige. Despite some initial annoyance, which is totally understandable given these three's history, the two team up to collect cat shines and cleanse Jr.'s beloved dad back to his old, lovable, still evil but slightly less evil self. Anyone can help their friends out, and that's great, but Mario's kindness even extends to his enemies. And that's a sign that he's a great guy. Even though Bowser Jr. is a kid, he's caused Mario his fair share of trouble, even being the main one to kidnap Peach in New Super Mario Bros. DS and Wii. So the fact that Mario was willing to team up with one foe to save another is extremely admirable. We don't even have to explain why him wanting to save Bowser of all people is a great deed. This deed is where Mario goes beyond being a hero to being a downright saint. That said, Mario is not without his sins, and we still have to cover his bad deeds. Despite how much of a good guy Mario is, he's done some bad stuff too. We'll be starting with the lesser of the bad deeds, and working our way down to the absolute worst, with his less egregious sin being overshadowing Luigi. There's no doubt that Mario loves his brother. He always lets him tag along on his adventures, invites him to all his events, and even saves him every so often. But there have been a few instances where Mario has contributed to Luigi's reputation as the overshadowed brother. In the ending cutscene of New Super Mario Bros. Wii, he has no problem leaving Luigi behind as he takes a hot air balloon ride with Peach, which Luigi arranged for all of them, mind you. Sure, he didn't intend for the balloon to take off, but come on, you could have shown some concern. At least give your brother a wave. There's also the infamous celebration cutscene in Mario Power Tennis, where Mario interrupts his victory by stepping on his foot, leaving him unable to move. None of this was downright evil, and it doesn't seem to go beyond brotherly teasing. There's also no doubt that he cares about and respects Luigi. Just look how proud he is in the ending cutscene of Luigi's Mansion 3. But really, we only mention his occasional mistreatment of Luigi as a formality. Everyone makes mistakes, but we're not going to call a possible affair a mere mistake. Heading back to Mario's time in Sarasa Land in Super Mario Land, we now re-examine the part where he kindly rescued Princess Daisy from Tatanga. Now, we don't want to assume anything here. Those hearts are totally implying a kiss, are they not? Okay, we acknowledge first and foremost that Mario and Peach have never been explicitly stated to be a couple, but the two have very obvious feelings of affection for each other. If they are a couple at this time, Mario could have cheated on her with Daisy here. Still, while we felt it right to mention it, this is all speculation. This could have just been a nice kiss on the cheek and not something that would crush Peach's heart. But who knows? And we can't overlook the fact that Mario also doesn't have any objection to false medical practice. We really aren't sure what exactly to say about Mario's alter ego, Dr. Mario. Is he a distant cousin? Is he the fabled third Mario brother? Is he just Mario in a lab coat with some questionably obtained pills? To our knowledge, we have to assume number 3. Now, on one hand, he is presumably helping a lot of people by destroying plenty of nasty viruses. But on the other hand, Shigeru Miyamoto himself has confirmed that Dr. Mario is not an actual doctor and has no medical license. That means all the pills he chucks in the Dr. Mario games are being carelessly and randomly distributed by a man with no medical training. Heck, if you've played the Dr. Mario games, he just chucks random pills into a jar and sees what sticks. There's only 3 colors, dude. You're being outclassed by children. What makes this even more terrifying is the fact that in Mario and Luigi's Superstar Saga, the viruses from the Dr. Mario games are much larger and act as enemies. How did he let them get so bad? Who knows how many other travesties Dr. Mario has caused? But if nothing else, we don't place Dr. Mario higher because he didn't mean any harm. Then again, Mario also didn't mean to be a big bully to Wario. While Bowser is Mario's main villain, Wario and him actually go back way further. A series of Nintendo Power comics pit the two against each other, going over their history as childhood friends, or if you ask Wario, childhood rivals. Mario's ignorance often led to Wario being hurt and mistreated in childhood, and when they played cowboys together, Mario always made Wario be the criminal, never letting him be the cowboy. It's really hard to blame Wario for the anti-heroic path he went on, considering his closest friend literally forced him into playing the role of a villain in their childhood playtime. When Wario finally opens up to Mario about his past trauma in these comics, Mario doesn't even apologize. He just tells Wario to toughen up and let it go. If these two's relationship is anything to go by, Mario is far from a mental health icon. This doesn't excuse Wario stealing Mario's castle, but we can't say we feel too bad for Mario considering how badly he treated Wario, and how little his pain mattered to him. And Wario isn't the only big, lovable, anti-heroic guy Mario has been a total jerk to. We can clearly see him laughing at Donkey Kong Sr., aka Cranky Kong, during his time in the circus. The first chronological piece of DK and Mario's history we know of is in the Game & Watch game simply titled Donkey Kong Circus. Here, we see a young Cranky Kong balancing on a barrel and catching pineapples while avoiding fireballs falling from barrels of oil. The poor guy is already being forced to perform painful and straight-up dangerous tricks in a circus. And to make things worse, whenever he screws up, Mario pulls out his inner Duck Hunt dog and laughs mercilessly at him. What kind of sicko gets pleasure out of torturing a poor animal like that? And did we mention this was actually the prequel to the original Donkey Kong? A little bit harder to blame him now, isn't it? Worse still, it's often speculated that Mario was the ringleader of the circus. Granted, this is just a rumor, but it's highly likely considering that he later recaptures DK Sr. in a cage. And assuming that's true, it makes him even more cruel. But any way you slice it, he's basically stripping DK of his free will here. Though that isn't as bad as him literally stripping people's free will away by possessing objects. If we ever wanted to meet Mario in real life, Super Mario Odyssey chased that desire right out of our hearts. In this game, Mario teams up with a ghost named Cappy inside his hat to possess objects like electric balls of energy, tanks, stone tikis, and more. Unfortunately, it doesn't stop there. Mario also possesses a lot of different characters over the course of the adventure, from adorable little frogs to innocent Cheep Cheeps, to even Bowser's troops. Mario is more than willing to strip these poor creatures of their autonomy to help him on his own mission. Perhaps creepiest of all, he even possesses humans. Yes, humans. You there, watching this video, you're not safe from Mario. This guy thinks he owns just about everything. He may still be trying to save Princess Peach, but that doesn't mean he can just manipulate everyone in his path to his devices. But hey, we can at least say that Mario wasn't outright hurting anyone there, unlike his habit of attacking non-hostile enemies. We can't really fault Mario for stomping Goombas and Koopa Troopas. Sure, getting crushed to death might not be the most pleasant way to go, but they are Bowser's troops, and they're trying to kill Mario, so it's self-defense. The same can't be said for the more peaceful enemies in Mario's universe, however. Take Wigglers as one example. I mean, they're adorable, walking along with big smiles on their faces, that is, until Mario steps on them and they understandably fight back. There are also the Cheep Cheeps in the water levels of the series. You know the old saying, there are plenty of fish in the sea. That is, until Mario shows up and murders them all. These guys are literally just minding their own business. We get it that they hurt if you touch them, but hear us out, Mario. Maybe just don't touch them. The only thing worse than hurting innocent animals is hurting innocent animals that you're friends with. Enter the Yoshi dilemma. Now, we'll use this entry to acknowledge that not every bad deed under Mario's cap is a canon event. Technically, you could beat a Mario game without hurting any Wigglers or Cheep Cheeps. And a lot of Mario fans remember dropping that poor baby penguin from Super Mario 64 off a cliff after returning it to its mother. Though not us, because we're not sociopaths. The overarching point is that Mario is controlled by us, so a lot of the deeds he commits we are fully responsible for. But the most infamous deed in this category, and probably one that nearly every Mario player is guilty of, is the old sacrifice Yoshi to get an extra jump move. Sometimes in the 2D Mario platformers, Yoshi acts as Mario's reliable steed, but it's possible to reduce him to a bit of an extra jump height. This can result in Yoshi being dropped off a cliff just so Mario can get a little higher up. He could get a power-up like the Cape Feather or the Propeller Cap, But when push comes to shove, Mario's willing to sacrifice a Yoshi's life to get what he wants if it's necessary. Now, some would argue that while Yoshi's death is tragic, it saves lives. And Mario's actions, while grotesque and incomprehensible, saves princesses. But really, this is all made even worse by the fact that Mario was saved by Yoshi's, and carried safely to his brother by them, whose life they also saved from Bowser. Mario owes Yoshi's as a whole big time, and while this deed is more in the player's hands than the hands of Mario himself, there are many levels with bonuses that downright encourage dropping poor Yoshi. But going back to the totally canon side of things, we have to go as low as Mario has ever gone. Our gold medal of evil goes to Mario's most utterly infamous deed, capturing Cranky Kong and trying to kill Donkey Kong Jr. After the torturous circus acts, Cranky Kong decided he had enough and escaped the circus once and for all, kidnapping Mario's girlfriend Pauline on the way. We get his anger, but he's still a total villain for that, so we can't blame Mario for kicking his butt and rescuing his girlfriend. Had this been the end of it, maybe things could have been a-okay between the two, but Mario just couldn't let the grudge go. In the arcade game, Donkey Kong Jr., Mario captures Cranky in a cage for unknown reasons, but quite possibly to take him back to the circus where he can be tortured again. Whatever the reason, this is already a terrible deed, but it gets worse when you consider DK Jr.'s side of the story. This is a literal baby animal desperately trying to rescue his dad, and Mario isn't moved at all. The only thing he's moving is obstacles in the DK Jr.'s way to try and kill him for the horrid crime of trying to save his dad. He's literally caging a father and trying to murder his son. It doesn't get much more evil than that. But hey, as absolutely horrid as that deed was, it's at least a fantastic showcase of how much Mario's grown over the years. He went from a monster who would kidnap his archenemy and attempt murder on his kid for trying to save him, to a guy who was willing to help his new archenemy's son save his archenemy. And it also seems like Mario and DK Jr. have put aside most of their differences in the later games, racing karts and throwing parties together. We're not quite sure if Cranky's over it though. In fact, maybe that's why he's so cranky. What do you guys think?